what we're going to do is look at the iris or the eye and how it accommodates when you go from a light room to a dark room. So when light intensity changes. So the iris is this colored bit in the middle. That is the iris. And the black bit in the middle, let's change color. That bit in the middle, why don't we change color? That bit there is called the pupil. It's just a hole that the iris creates, makes it bigger or smaller. And the reason it's black is because all the light that's gone into the eye has been absorbed. Nothing sort of bounces back out. So we're going to figure out how, when you go from a light room to a dark room, the iris changes and the size of the pupil changes. So what we have is a set of circular muscles. I'm just going to draw 3. They run around the side there. And you have a set of radial muscles that run from the center. It's almost like the radius of a circle. Radial muscles. So let's write this down. So these red muscles are called radial muscles. And the green ones are called circular muscles. Now, we need to find out what happens when you go from a, let's say, from a dark room to a light room. So we're now going to go from a dark room to a light room. So the light has become more intense. So the light, let me write this down. It's good to know this phrase. So the light intensity has increased. Right, so what's going to happen now? Let's try to write this down. So the first thing that happens is the radial muscles relax. The circular muscles contract. And what that does is that has the effect of making the pupil smaller. Or we say the pupil, and this is a better word to use, the pupil constricts, gets smaller. What's the effect of that? Because there's less light needed, so then therefore we can say therefore less light enters the eye and hits the retina. Let's put that in. And hits the retina. Now let's move on. What happens when you go from a light room to a dark room. And you've got to know this, so it's best to learn them both. Okay, so we want the pupil to be bigger. So what happens is the circular muscles relax, the green ones, the radial muscles contract, and the pupil gets, oh, right, okay, the pupil gets bigger. Right, another word for that is the pupil dilates. And again, it's good to know these words, dilates. What does that mean? So then, therefore, there is more light entering the eye and hitting the retina. Right, it's important to know these. Really useful actually, if you come to think of it. Do we have a colour? Do we have something slightly thicker? Right. If you go from dark to light, the radial muscles relax, circular muscles contract, the pupil gets smaller or constricts. Try to learn this word. And therefore, less light enters the eye and hits the retina. Okay, so what happens when you go, what colour can we use? Let's try that. What happens when you go from a light room to a dark room? So, circular muscles relax. It's the opposite way around now. Circular muscles relax, radial muscles contract. What happens? The pupil gets bigger, or the pupil dilates. Remember that word, dilates. So, there's more light entering the eye and hitting the retina. Right, that's it for that.